Hey everyone, actually a longer blog post is part of this vlog, but do the East Bay entities, the City of Oakland, the County of Alameda, and the Oakland-Alameda County Joint Powers Authority have legal standing to file a lawsuit against the Oakland Raiders citing violation of the good faith legal clause? I'm setting up an argument, and I'll leave you to make a conclusion. However, I'm going to make my own as well. But there is ample evidence to show that neither the Oakland Raiders or the San Diego Chargers, the two NFL teams working together to build a stadium in Carson, have worked in good faith with, in the Chargers case, the City of San Diego, the county, or in the Raiders case, the East Bay entities, and in particular the City of Oakland. For example, as I note in the blog post, Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf expressed to me the idea that, and this goes back to April, that the Raiders were working with her exclusively. She didn't believe that they were working behind her back in Carson, as I pointed out that was going on at the time, and didn't realize it until June 17th of this year, one day before the scheduled spring NFL owners meeting, which took place at the Ritz-Carlton in San Francisco. She and I talked that night by phone. And right then, we agreed to craft a strategy. I was going to walk in and ask Mr. Davis why he was working behind the mayor's back. And he would be forced to answer the question on camera before the public so that people could see. While others were asking him questions regarding the progress of a stadium in Oakland, I asserted right there, hey, you're working behind the mayor's back in Carson. He says, no, we're not doing that. But the bottom line is that was what was going on. The effort to build a stadium in Carson started, according to Mark Fabiani, the Chargers spokesperson and PR genius, and I don't say that derisively, Mark's a very smart PR guy. As far back as last spring, when he told Kevin Faulconer, hey, look, we're not going to be ready to go until 2016, so don't do anything. And then that summer, talked to Starwood, who owned the land where the Carson Stadium was going to go, about purchasing that land, but didn't tell the mayor of San Diego that. So by the time the Chargers-Raiders pairing was announced on February 19th of this year, through the LA Times and an article by Sam Farmer, it was clear, even by the rendering that was introduced, let alone the website that was launched, which had bought its domain, I think, 2 days before, they had already been working on this before that announcement. Even as they said, we're doing this, the Chargers and the Raiders, in case our efforts to maintain our teams in our home cities don't work out, which implies, hey, look, we're going to leave this on the back burner, we're going to focus on the home teams. In reality, it was the reverse. The reverse. And while some will say that Fabiani lied to Mayor Kevin Faulconer, I'm not going to go that far, but look, Fabiani tells Mayor Faulconer of San Diego, hey, just wait until 2016. Then goes silent, and all of a sudden announces this deal with the Raiders in February, to which Faulconer says, hey, that's not how you do business. That's not the reaction of a person who believes that they were worked with in good faith. Same with Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf, who was completely upset when she realized that all this was going on behind her back. She just became mayor, won the election in November last year, and was just getting up to speed regarding what was going on. There's no threat level playbook that one administration in Oakland passes to the other. You sort of have to pick it up by whoever staff is there, or the good faith and information brought to you by, in this case, the Oakland Raiders. But it's clear the Raiders had their own agenda. Matika Architecture had already had their renderings done by February 19th. The question is, when were they hired? And if you think about how Fabiani started talks with Starwood last summer of 2014, between summer 2014 and December, somewhere in there is when they started to engage Manteca Architecture and say, hey, look, we want you to start putting together some design concepts and renderings so that we're ready to go by a date sometime next year. And then when Stan Kroenke in January announced his stadium initiative with a desire to build an NFL stadium for his Rams in Inglewood, then boom, the Chargers said, oh, we got to go now. Okay, so let's go. And so the Chargers went to work, and by February, they announced their pairing with the Raiders. But the bottom line is, they had this idea in mind already for some time. It is clear all the way up to this point that the NFL has been driving this. The question is, will the NFL realize that it has been misleading both the City of Oakland and the City of San Diego in designing a process where the home teams are always behind Carson and Inglewood, so that even in the case of St. Louis, which is further ahead than Oakland or San Diego, when it has a naming rights agreement, the commissioner can say, oh, well, they still have some holes because the NFL is the house running the game. It can rig the game in the favor of getting a team into LA. And you would say, but the bottom line is, if you're going to have in your documents that you're working in good faith, and we're negotiating in good faith, those actions violate the good faith clauses in not just the NFL relocation policy, but the Oakland Raiders lease agreements and any other documents applicable to relationships between the Raiders in Oakland and San Diego and the Chargers. It's a big mess and a big problem that has to be addressed. And if the Raiders and the Chargers fill out a relocation document, don't be surprised if that triggers a lawsuit. If arguably, I think it should. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell is certainly politically savvy enough and astute enough not to let that go as far as I would think. Let's see if it's certainly the case. The home teams need to be given realistic, ample time to work exclusively with the teams. No interruptions, no outside interference to build a new stadium in their home teams areas. And you would say, why is LA so desired by the NFL? Two reasons. First of all, imagine you were negotiating on behalf of the National Football League for their television contract. You got all your ducks in a row. You've proven that you're the ratings winner all the time. The Super Bowl is one of the top program of all time on television. And then Disney Cap City says, yeah, but you don't have a team in LA, and that's the second largest media market. Not only that, the LA Clippers are worth $2 billion, and you've got nothing. End game. You're stuck. Personally, I think the San Francisco Bay Area is worth more with its large number of unicorn tech firms, but that's me. The bottom line is the NFL has set its sights on Los Angeles once again, but the way it's trying to get there has a giant legal hole that has to be filled, and the home teams and the home cities have to be allowed to work together to achieve an agreement to build stadiums in those cities. And if that can't be done, and it's clear it can't be done, then you go about building a new stadium in LA. But you don't fix the game like it's been done in favor of Carson and Inglewood. That's not right.